I'm Lance Chad Tjyllyungoo. My name Tjyllyungoo is actually a Yamatji name given to me by my father's people, elders. I grew up here with my uncles who were child artists from the famous Carolup Mission painters. They were the child artists of Carolup. So I grew up as a small boy looking at those works and also helping to paint with them as well. They taught me that old style first. And but I also used to listen to them talk about Albert Namatjira at that time as well. And old Albert died when I was 5 years old. But as a result of my uncles, I became a painter. It was regarded in our family pretty cool to be a good painter. And of course, Namatjira lifted a lot of our people. And so, you know, I remember as a small boy getting to my old man's boss's house. He was an old rough guy like Saltbush Bill. And I used to get into his house when he'd go to church. And he had a print of Uncle Reynold Hart's painting. And he had a print of Albert Namatjira's. And I remember as a boy I used to look at those paintings for hours. And as a result of those influences, early influences, I've been through, I was introduced to watercolours in Namatjira's country, so I started painting landscapes and watercolours from those areas. But as time went by, as an artist, you start to realise that you know, there's also a responsibility, you know, to culture and to promoting culture and amongst our people as well as anybody else. So as a landscape painter, I tend to paint our spiritual landscapes as well, because our culture and our spirituality is land-based. Our culture has actually been described as a system of nature worship, you know, because of and I think totemism is a very big thing in our culture. And that brings me back to this project, Porongurups, which is about totemism. The Porongurup is a very old place and it's very significant and ancient shrine in our culture. It's sacred. And in the old days, you know, our people never went through that ground. They always went around the Porongurups when they were travelling. And when they did go around and when they passed the Porongurups, they used to throw down fresh rushes and announce themselves. And because Porongurups is traditionally it's a sanctuary for all the animals that exist there, because they're brothers and sisters to the people, to the totems. Right on the top of the Porongurup is Waggle. He's the rainbow servant for the Nyoongar people. And he's a creation spirit as well, but he's also the rewarder and the punisher, and he's all-knowing and all-seeing. So in the old days, our people, they were very law-abiding because they lived in fear of Waggle, or what the punishment, what they call Waggalang, is what we call punishment from Waggle. And there was nowhere, as I say, that you could hide from Waggle, because that law was already inside you. Yeah. And you can't hide from yourself or Waggle, you know, it doesn't matter where. And also when we look at totems, what we call Boorongurup, our totem is our Boorongurup, or our Porongurup. That means your spiritual elder brother, and that's blood mort, or blood relation. So totemism is very important in our culture, and Porongurup is the place of the totemic spirits for the Southern Bibliman. This project is very important for that, because a lot of our people don't actually know the meaning of this place. And so these are the kind of things that we want to, that have been left dormant, you know, for all those years, and we want to try and bring them back to the fore and improve on that understanding, not only with Aboriginal people, but everybody, you know. I think that my responses from non-Aboriginal people so far have been very positive, and they've become really genuinely interested in that. And then we have to sort of start thinking how, this is the hard part, is how we can depict or make tangible something that is not. how do we paint that kind of spirituality so that people can understand and it's not totally abstract, whereby if you don't have the story you don't really know what's going on. So the challenge is to try and, as I say, paint this kind of spirituality or paint a belief. To be able to make tangible what's not tangible, because it's an unseen world of belief. So our imaginations, have to be there, and it's good. I mean, I like it. I think it's good for me personally, spiritually as well. Well, I think that geographically I'm in the right place, but also myself and my life as an artist, I think that I've matured now enough to be able to do these projects. And I think cultural pride, and through cultural maintenance and restoration, is really important, to our people. I write songs about that as well with my sons and that. So I think that because there are a lot of people around who don't have a lot to be proud of, but they can be proud in their culture and in their spiritual beliefs. And so I think it's very important, from that perspective, as well as educating the wider world, but also to instill some sort of cultural pride and identity in people, particularly our youth. Yeah. Cultural identity, I think, is very important. And I think that it's important that the wider community understand the stories and things associated with places like this. Because I believe that, once they understand it, they also have a different respect for the place, a different knowledge of the place, a different insight into the place, and history and prehistory, into places like these places and into our culture. So it's, from all those perspectives, I think these kind of projects are really important. They are, absolutely. For people's well-being as well as anything else. I mean, it's been my refuge for years. I can lose myself here, so I'm lucky, I can escape from a lot of stuff. The support from ADCO and also the connection with Nomad Two Worlds and that kind of collaborative stuff that we do, I think it's really good. It's enabled me to be able to do this.